These three setups were used by the pro player Dcroft to not only win him $25,000, but punch his ticket to the Madden Bowl live event and one step closer to the $1 million prize pool. Now, some would say Dcroft had a master class on the offensive side of the ball in his game versus Wesley and was nearly unstoppable out of the Y-off trips, or also known as U-trips formation in the New England Patriots playbook. Dcroft utilized the cheapest abilities he could find at each of these spots on his offense. Now, the first ability that Dcroft used was short out elite, and the reason he did this is because he knew Wesley was going to be running a man-heavy scheme, which when wide receivers have the ability short out cannot be pressed, because if they're pressed, they're going to win that fight every single time and get a free release down the field. In the slot, he used Christian Kirk with the short out and the short end stack, and route tech on Tyreek Hill on the solo side was short out. And for his tight end, he used Taysom Hill and made sure that he had short in on him too. Now, while taking a deep dive into these three setups, we're also going to be going over the keys to success that Dcroft applied in his master class of offense. Now, in his game versus Wesley, he knew he would be facing a very good blitz in the 3-3-5 loop with knockouts all over the field. He knew he was going to have to utilize quick hitting routes and corners to beat the man coverage, which is exactly what he did in setup 1 out of this play, scat. In all of his plays besides running the ball, this was by far his most called play, nearly averaging 10 yards a play. What Dcroft would do a lot is he would motion over his number 1 wide receiver, streak his tight end, post the slot wide receiver, and put the motion man on a slant and snap him before he could get set. This would allow that player to not get pressed and have his short out always light up. Now, this is an amazing route combo on the backside here, because while also causing major stress on the user, because the user has to choose whether he's going to guard the backside post from Tyreek or if he's going to guard the slant, which is a timing route right there on the outside. And the slant is going to beat his man 10 out of 10 times with a short out elite right there. And not to mention, this corner out from scat over here on the left-hand side is nearly unguardable versus man coverage, which Dcroft was living off of this night. Which brings us to our first key. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Dcroft's most thrown route of the night was by far corner routes. And if Wesley wasn't adjusting to it, Dcroft was going to keep throwing corner route after corner route after corner route. And honestly, Wesley had no answer for it all night. So Dcroft just kept going back to it, because if the opponent's not going to make an adjustment to this single play, why not just keep running it? Now you're probably wondering, okay, Rich, why doesn't Wesley just send more pressure so with these long developing plays, Dcroft wouldn't have as much time to throw these longer developing routes? Which brings us to setup number 2. Out of the play tight end whip, and his adjustments were simply just to block his running back, slant the slot wide receiver, and then corner out the solo wide receiver over here on the right. And again, motion snap the slant. Every single play, Dcroft almost motioned every single play. But the only route that mattered on this play again was the corner slant combo on the right side, which is what he was reading right there as a high-low. Wesley's user is really put in a tough spot here and is forced to guard this tight end whip route, leaving Tyreek Hill one-on-one in man coverage and able to complete an easy first down and keep this long methodical opening drive going, and shows off key number 2, making everything look identical. It didn't matter if Dcroft was going to run the ball or run scat for the 5th time all game. He always had someone in motion and snapped the ball at the same spot every single time. That way the opponent could never get a tell of what play he was running. What was especially interesting to see was that Dcroft kept turning to his trusted setups out of scat, curl flat, and tight end whip, and sticking with the game plan, which shows off key number 3, which is make them respect the underneath to take the top off later in the game. In the opening drive of overtime, Dcroft started out by running his favorite setup, scat, that he had ran all day. But on an early second down, Dcroft went with setup number 3 out of Y out that he had completely freestyled. He had changed every single route on this play and had put the outside wide receiver on a C route, the slot on a streak, the tight end on a crosser, and the solo wide receiver on a drag, forcing for Wesley's user to pick either between the crosser or the drag. He forgot about the short out ability and had forgot about the short out ability automatically causing the wide receiver to win on press animations. Dcroft lobbed it up and had an easy score to Kirk and to get the go-ahead touchdown and win it on the ensuing drive with an interception. Now, if you enjoyed this video, then here's one of the best defenses in Madden 23 set up by the champion, Henry.